Hey, just a few things before the video because I know people will ask. I'm an Among Us streamer on Twitch. I have nearly 800 hours played of Among Us over 2 months in the sweatiest lobbies. In the $10,000 Code Red tournament for Among Us, I placed 2nd in the first bracket and 6th in the finals. That being said, I'll be giving you some awesome tips today, and if you enjoy them, please subscribe and leave some comments below for suggestions on tips that you think I should include in my next video. Tip number 1, trash catch. So one tip I have for you today is the trash chute catch. So if you are with someone for a long duration of the game, or you see someone go down to the trash chute at the beginning of the game without having done the O2 trash or the cafeteria trash, that is a sign that that person is an imposter, because you must do one of the 2 other trashers before going down to the bottom storage trash and skilled. Tip number 2, admin table card. So this is another tip that requires a little bit of awareness. So at the beginning of the game, if you see a lot of people go to admin on Skeld, you'll note that there is actually a common task if you play with the standard rules 215 for tasks, and you'll know that card swipe is going to be one of the common tasks on Skeld. Now, if you see people go to admin and neglect card swipe, that could possibly mean that they may have forgotten that they're supposed to do a common task like every other crewmate, and it could give you some evidence against that person as an imposter. Maybe not enough evidence to get them voted out on its own, but definitely some good evidence against that person. Tip number 3, catching vents from electrical to medbay. So this next tip involves catching someone who is venting from security to medbay. If you can look at the fog of war and kind of catch the vent animation moving, you can run up to the cameras and you can see the person actually running out of medbay. That's probably the person who vented. You can go hit the button, catch your imposter. Tip number 4, taskbar watching or taskbarring. Now, if your group allows it, there's also something called taskbar watching or taskbarring people. So as you can see, one person can go into a task and the bar will move up. But if an imposter does a task and they move away without properly faking it, the bar will not move up, or it'll go up at the wrong time or not enough, depending on the task. And that is a good way also to catch an imposter, but make sure your group allows you using this method first. Tip number 6, keeping track of common tasks. One of the easiest ways to catch a novice imposter on Polus is to catch them faking a common task. A common task is a task that all crewmates have. In this situation, we do not have keys. White and yellow are going to go do keys right now, which means that we can go hit the button and get them voted out based off that. Sometimes crewmates like to go and bait keys against imposters, but this is not a common tactic, and it's usually something that only works once. Tip number 7, color counting at the beginning of the round and throughout the round. One really good tip that I can offer is practice color counting. At the beginning of every round, you can color count just in case that there's an early kill. This will give you the ability to clear people, to find out who's in the area of a certain color that died, and overall just give you tons and tons of information that's useful. Color counting is a useful tool to keep track of people throughout the game, not just at the beginning of the game. But for example, if you see yellow, brown, and black in lights, just count it off in your head. Say yellow, brown, black are in lights, blue and green are in weapons, red is alone in medbay.
Masterbean and Zerka are full cleared for this kill. They both went right.
And
Yeah.
they're on the telescope.
And as you're kind of going around the map and kind of listing off people, you'll have a decent amount of information to offer if you survive until the next round. Tip number 8, wires. Another tip I have are wires. You can do wires outside of the buildings in Polus. So as you can see here, I'm doing the wires outside of O2. You can also do the same for the wires over here in office. There's also a set of wires up in Medbay that you can do from outside the bathroom, which is really, really useful information. This way you don't really have to go inside the building. You can speed run your tasks faster and get your tasks done faster. Tip number 9, windows of Polus. There are actually a few windows in Polus that can give you a decent amount of information. One of them is an office. It's a giant window that peeks into the button room. You can peek in there if you need to see where anyone's at, see if anyone's camping the button, etc. You can look into the storage window. It's a small little window that peeks into the gas canister room. There's also a window in the light room, also the camera room up by the top left reactor that actually peeks out into the top left reactor. There's one in the communications room, small little window that peeks in there, and there's another window in weapons. Tip number 10. So there are right and wrong times to vote in Among Us. In this situation, Yellow is implicated as the imposter. Most of the crew believe he is the imposter, but there are 9 people left in the game and 1 is dead. We can safely vote here on 9 because it's a safe gamble. We won't lose too much, and we're not at a point of the game where it'll make too much of a difference. In Among Us, there's also the wrong times to vote. Now, if you know for sure that there's 2 imposters left and there's only 7 people in the game, it is not necessarily safe to vote here. If you get the wrong person out, you could be susceptible to a double kill the next round.
What's the
7, I'm gonna skip here, but I'm just gonna say anyone, I'm sus of anyone top 02, to be honest. And that is why it's mostly safe to skip on 7. So just because someone votes with the imposter doesn't mean that they are the imposter. It just means that they're the 3rd imposter. Don't use it as the main info to get someone voted out, but rather use it as supplementary info to gather evidence on someone. If you guys really like these tip videos, please like and subscribe. I'm actually planning to do more of them in the future, mainly like tips for each individual map, tips for each individual role. For example, we're gonna have another imposter tip video, and maybe even some advanced tips for both crewmate and imposter. If you have any recommendations for what tips I should include in these future videos, please leave a comment down below. I would love to hear them. I'd love to include them in the video. And hey, I'll even credit you in the details.